What's up YouTube? Capital G here talking DDDs in this video, and I think I want this video to be just one big DDD discussion because I think I want to touch on a few points when it comes to the archetype. Number one, how the deck has fared since the release of Pendulum Domination last week, because it has been very successful, and I am not sure if everybody actually anticipated that. I want to talk about DDDs in the past tense and what they may have been had Konami actually not screwed the archetype over and released Pendulum Domination on time. It was supposed to originally come out last year right before Nationals. Everybody kind of knows this story. And then I want to talk about DDDs in the future tense and how they might fare against the Titans that are going to be released in February. One of them coming out of Raging Tempest and Zoodiac Beast. Everybody knows about that deck by now. And then another one in the Windwitch Eidolon Artifact deck. So for starters, DDD have done very well. The deck has only been pretty much full power legal in the TCG for about a week, and it has already done really well on the regional circuit, racking up a bunch of top eights. In fact, I believe Blair Hunter actually won in ARG states in like Georgia, and it actually won in ARG already in its first legal weekend. I'm thinking that that's pretty damn impressive, guys. One Jeffrey Jones, who I want to say I had ranked second in the top 10 greatest Yu-Gi-Oh players of all times. And if you look at Jeff Jones' deck, this is definitely, like, anyone who's ever seen a Jeff Jones, this is a Jeff Jones special right here. You look at cards like DD Crow, and he's got the Soul Charge in here, as well as the TG Hyper Librarian. Soul Charge is a card that's, like, I kind of question why people were, like, why weren't they always playing this in DDD? I mean, yeah, DDD is a deck that can Synchro, Ixie, and a Confusion, but, like, it does a lot of Synchro plays, and, you know, the Synchro Summon plus Soul Charge, like, those two things have always kind of gone hand in hand, so, like, this kind of makes sense. I know DDDs do have a tendency of banishing some of their cards from, like, the Necro Slime and, the green slime as well. Also, you can use your contract from the abyss and you can banish, but still, I think Soul Charge works really well. DD Crow is another card that's excellent in this deck. Not only is it a hand trap that can disrupt like ABC plays, you can use it to potentially like banish your opponent's targets for like Norden and whatnot, and it is a dart target, so Allure Darkness, which I don't think I've seen a DDD yet that has not played at least a couple of copies of Allure Darkness. So if this card is dead, you're going first, you could just obviously banish it. TG Hyper Librarian, for what I understand, people were saying that, you know, when you go for like Formula Synchron, it just is a card that makes it so that you just draw constantly, because DDDs are known for just having a whole bunch of synchro plays. But in general, DDDs have been very successful over the span of like the last week, and I'm not sure that that was expected, guys. I think that there are still a lot of people out there that are skeptical of this archetype, that are seeing things like the $74 Crystal Wing over here. Well, let's, you know, fuck it. Let's just round that shit up. $75 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and they're looking at DDDs and they're saying, oh my goodness, this is all hype. And I think a lot of people who are in the know have been saying, no, DDDs are really that good. They make some of the best boards in the game. And yeah, it looks like it's definitely a deck that is warranting all the hype that we kind of gave it in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Now, I do think, and I've pretty much been outspoken about this, it was a tragedy what Konami did. I mean, no disrespect to anybody that likes dragons or that played the Felgrand deck, but DDDs had a legitimate chance of actually winning US Nationals, like North American Nationals, and possibly even Euros. I mean, could you guys imagine if Konami would have actually dropped Pendulum Domination a week before North American Nationals, and they would have actually included things like Alexander in that structure deck? I mean, you would have been able to play this entire deck for pretty much like the second half of last year. All of those regionals where people had to run kind of like GIMP versions of DDDs with no Siegfried and, you know, no Lamnia, like, fuck that. I wouldn't even bother with that. Like, you'd have been able to run this deck at full power, and I think a lot of those matchups like PK Fire would have been really good for DDD, because you put a Crystal Wing on board, you put like a Titanic Galaxy on board, and, you know, like, they're definitely going to struggle, although they wouldn't have had Dimensional Barrier, so that definitely would have hurt them. Although I kind of wonder how DDDs would have fared against like Domain Monarchs, because I just look on paper and I'm like, that seems like it would be a really shitty matchup. Like, if you get turn one Domain against DDDs, like, don't they just kind of get shit on? I guess you have Ragnarok to potentially banish the Tribute Summon monster, but if, you know, if it's like Vanity's Fiend or if it's like Majesty's Fiend, then it could definitely be a problem for like a DDD deck. And what do you guys think about DDDs going forward? Because the weird dichotomy is, I think everybody kind of anticipates Zoodiac Beast to just run over DDDs and for Zoodiac Beast to just be completely tier 0, to be unopposed. But the thing is, what people have to understand is DDDs by the time that Zoodiac Beast came out in the OCG, DDDs weren't that, like, they weren't seeing a lot of play. And some people might say, oh, Cap, well, if they're so good, why did people stop playing them? It's not because the deck sucked, it's because Konami hit the deck on the ban list. Like, Konami semi-limited green slime and red slime, so, you know, people are like, fuck it, we'll just play another deck that hasn't been hit on the ban list. So I'm not actually sure if DDDs aren't, like, if they're a deck that can't at least contend with Zoodiac Beast. And to be honest, this might sound crazy, guys, I actually think that, like, Zoodiac Beast is a better matchup for DDDs than Windwitch Idolin Artifact, because if you look at all of the anti-extra deck special summoning shit that, like, the Windwitch Idolin Artifact deck plays, all those artifact scythes and the dimensional barriers and stuff like that, and then obviously the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, like, I kind of feel like that's more hoops and more things for DDD to kind of deal with than Zoodiac Beast, which pretty much throw everything on the board. And I believe Jeff Jones actually cited like Dark Hole and stuff like that. I mean, you can literally just play a Dark Hole or a Regeki, and you can actually play Yu-Gi-Oh against a deck like Zoodiac Beast, assuming that, you know, they don't have like a dimensional barrier or a Vanities or something like that. Against the Windwitch Idolin Artifact deck, I mean, DDDs, some of them don't run Twin Twister in the main, some of them do, but to me, I kind of feel like it's a better matchup for Zoodiac Beast. So, like, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is a deck that is going to just have its kind of 2 weeks in the sun? Because when Fusion Enforcers and more importantly Raging Tempest come out, obviously the meta is going to change, but I feel like everybody is not really giving DDDs a chance. They're just like, oh, this deck's going to be hot for like 2 weeks and then it's basically just going to be garbage. And I'm not 100% sure about that, guys. Like, I have a sneaky suspicion, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it will be the best deck. I think Zoodiacs will be the best deck, but I think it could still be like maybe the third or the second best deck in the format. So I don't know, I just want to talk about DDDs and get some input from you guys, because as I've said, I feel like people were definitely discounting the deck. I think that a lot of people were very skeptical about the deck, and they saw a bunch of hype and they were just like, is this really a deck that deserves all the hype? And it's showing so far that it is a deck that deserves the hype. I mean, I honestly can't say what the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh is right now, because some people will argue that it's Metaphors. Some people will say, well, it was just an ARG, you know what I mean? DDDs winning one ARG doesn't make it the best deck. Some people might even still say that it's Paleozoics, despite the fact for some reason Blue Eyes seems to just be getting better and better. I really don't understand that, but what do you guys think? Is DDD a deck that you guys would feel comfortable picking up and investing in? Obviously, it's not one for budget players because you have the D barriers, you still have the Pot of Desires, and you've got not just Omega, but then Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is just, as I showed you, about a $75 card. Or do you guys think that this is just going to be a one-hit wonder? Do you guys think that this is just going to be a flash in a pan, a deck that's kind of good for a couple of weeks, but then when Zoodiacs come out, they're just going to shit all over DDD's face? I think really, like, YCS Seattle is just going to kind of be the battlegrounds. Like, it's going to tell us a lot about the format, at least in the short term, because I don't actually think Fusion Enforcers will be legal, but it should show us at least a good showdown between DDDs and Zoodiac Beasts. Whatever you guys believe, please leave that in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. I gotta do some more digging on that damn Crystal Wing price and see what the fuck is going on in the secondary market.